Abnormal Andy and Phantom Dark Dave, the Screaming Skull Podcast.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to a brand new episode of the Screaming Skull Podcast, and we are your host. I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And I'm Abnormal Andy.
Andy, we found ourselves doing a New Year's horror movie, and I'm thinking, shit, we should have did this one first.
Yeah, I know. This is like the movie we're talking about today is set on New Year's Eve. So yeah, the perfect movie for start of the year.
That's right, man. And if you guys joined us last time, we talked about one of our favorite movies. I think it was from '86, and it was Troll, which was such a good time.
Oh yeah, it was a really fun episode. Very nostalgic for me.
Yeah, for sure, man. I was so jealous when you said that you saw it in theater. I was happy for you, but I
Yeah.
was sad inside because I wanted to be there too. But that's okay, because the movie we're talking about today, I'm super excited to get to because it's been a little while since we talked about a good old-fashioned '80s slasher, and this is a prime example of how good it can be.
That's true, man. This is another Jamie Lee Curtis movie, and it's one of those things where like trying to put a slasher killer somewhere unique. Well, I think this movie does the job. It has a very unique setting and has a cool kind of gimmick for the killer. Like I said, Jamie Lee Curtis, another slasher movie. And so yeah, I think we'll find out if this is kind of an underrated classic or just another early 80s slasher that gets lost in the mix.
For sure, man. But before we do that, we can get into a little bit of horror news. And when we were talking about this, we didn't want to do what we typically do for horror news because there's really only one thing that's on our minds right now.
Horror News.
That's right. If anybody knows us, they'll know that we are super excited for Scream 7.
So, horror news, yes, but all about Scream 7 because, Andy, we are only about a month away.
That's right, man. And as the date gets near, like new stuff keeps dropping for us, little things. And Bloody Disgusting dropped an exclusive trailer for the newest for Scream 7. And I guess we had to kind of have a plot here. It says when a new Ghostface killer emerges in the quiet town where Sidney Prescott has built a new life, her darkest fears are realized as her daughter becomes the next target. Determined to protect her family, Sidney must face the horrors of her past to put an end to the bloodshed once and for all. So anyway, it says the trailer offers a history lesson in how far the franchise has come and how many people have died in the last 30 years. So it's scheduled to be released February 27th. And yeah, so there's a new trailer, whatever you want to call it, out.
Like a
And it's
TV
just like,
spot, kind of.
yeah, it just says Scream 7 Legacy. And it's kind of like starts off saying like all the calls, all the kills have led to this or something like that. And so that's kind of cool. And in the trailer, we've seen the previous trailer where it kind of sets us up for maybe what's the beginning and not sure exactly what the beginning scene is going to be, but in this one, they kind of include a few extra shots of they show like the psychiatric hospital, a scene, in front of that, and show some like some drawings pinned to a wall, like somebody drew some people.
It
I
had a
was,
very like Halloween H2O vibe whenever they do
yeah,
the intro of that and you see like the Loomis stuff and the drawings of Michael Myers and everything. And I'm surprised you didn't pause it and stare at it because every time we do the horror movie and there happens to be like a billboard or one of those college dorms where everybody's posting and pinning it up, you're always like, I pause it and I look at everything that's up there.
yeah. I mean, I've seen some stills from the trailer, so people are pointing out different drawings with who they are
Oh, for
and stuff like
sure.
that. So
People are speculating, man. They're like,
yeah,
"Oh, are we gonna get Matthew Lillard? Has he been in a psychiatrist place for the whole time?" And then people are like,
exactly,
"Oh,
yeah.
maybe it's gonna be like Roman." And it's so funny if you jump online and you start reading threads because people like to argue. They're like, "It can't be Roman. He got shot in the head." And we're like, "Well, it can't be Matthew Lillard's character because he got a TV dropped on his head, you idiot." And then they just go back and forth. And
Yeah.
we all know what it's going to be, man. It's probably going to be flashbacks or AI, but the fact that they're bringing back original actors to do it, I'm just so excited. And like I said, just being a month away, like I don't know about you, man, but I just watch these trailers and TV spots kind of a countless number of times, just building that anticipation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm super excited for it. I don't know what, like you said, there's lots of fan theories about who the killer's going to be and things like that. And I'm just excited for another Scream movie. I'm just gonna, be there opening night, hopefully, and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, for sure. And you can say what you want about where the Scream franchise has gone so far, and especially with the last two films, five and six, just kind of being like their own thing. It's kind of unique because even though a lot of the characters were together in five, and we know, Nev Campbell's character was missing in six, but she's back and she's leading seven. Just seeing like Chad and Mindy both in the trailer feels like they're kind of like bringing this all, like taking all the films and finally bringing them all together. I was getting the feelings like it kind of makes me worried. I'm like, is this going to be the very last one? But if so, are they going to go out with a bang?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if this will be the last one. I mean, maybe it's going to be the last one with Neve Campbell, but yeah, it's interesting that they're bringing together like the legacy people. Well, Sydney and
Gail.
Gail, and then yeah, the twins. So it's kind of like its own thing, but it is kind of like a mashup. So it's gonna be cool to see like how they're like what is gonna bring everybody together.
Hmm.
And maybe just the twins are just kind of taking Randy's place. You got to have like a movie,
Nobody can take Randy's place.
right? But they got to have like the movie nerd to be able to kind of set up the new rules. So there's probably gonna be some new rules set up in this one, and yeah, so it's going to be exciting to see what that is, what the new rules are, and
You know what the new rules are. They're going to be like, this is Scream 7. Our main character is going to have telekinesis.
that's true. That did happen in Friday the 13th Part 7.
Exactly.
So we'll see. Maybe there's gonna be something supernatural in this one, but I don't know. Uh,
One thing that's pretty cool is Andy and I love to keep tabs on what's going on at Texas Frightmare because that's a horror convention we like to go to every year. And they just added McKenna Grace, who is also in Scream 7. So that's pretty exciting.
that is, man. It's like the 30th anniversary of the original Scream.
Let
So,
the Scream cast grow.
oh yeah, we've already got Stu and uh,
Billy.
oh my gosh, Billy.
It's
We
okay. I
got
won't tell anybody.
we've already got Stu and Billy that are
Well,
gonna be
a
there.
few
Yeah.
years ago, they had kind of a Scream reunion, and like an idiot, I didn't go, but like Nev Campbell was there and everything else. So I'm hoping maybe everybody comes back for the, like you said, the 30-year, anniversary. I'd love to be able to meet, some Randy, some Dewey. Could be really cool. Just our luck, we're probably gonna get like Billy's dad from Scream 1. I'm like, that's okay. I'll
Oh
meet the
yeah.
werewolf.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a good time. I'm excited. It's kind of our yearly thing now.
Yes, it is, man. Like I said, let the Scream cast grow and maybe some people from some 80s horror movies. That'll be really cool. But Andy, I can't wait no longer. I say we go ahead, we cut the crap, we dive in. Let's talk about 1980 Terror Train.
Yeah, let's do it.
The main event. Terror Train.
Everybody take off your mask. Hey, take it easy, man. What are you doing? Oh, my God. Stay with your date. I don't want to get back on that track. Nobody does. Help! Please! Nice gag, Steve. You'll die. At this temperature, you'll die. You'll die. You'll die. Come on, Mo. Come on. No! Oh, no! No!
For the students aboard, it's going to be the one party to end them all.
They're always walking out of my parties. But this time, you can't.
Do you believe in magic?
My last big college party.
It's a joke. Goddamn practical joke.
The scream in the night isn't the train. It's the terror at your throat. Terror Train.
I don't want to get back.
All right, Andy. Now, I know your love for 80 slashers matches mine. I would even go a step further and say you're probably one notch above me because you seem to have seen every 80s horror movie that I throw your way. So I know you've seen Terror Train, but I don't know when it was. So let's talk about it, man. What's your oldest experience with this movie?
So I saw this one probably in the first time I saw the actual movie was probably like in the mid 2000s, I want to say.
Okay.
So I saw when I was a kid, I saw like a TV spot for this movie, and it really scared me because it showed the killer dressed as like Father Time, like the old man, the in the robe thing, and he had like the big spear thing that he was trying to stab her in the cage, and I thought that was really freaky. But I kept getting this movie and Horror Express kind of mixed up because
Trains.
they must have, yeah, they must have been showing that on TV around the same time because I got these two movies mixed up. And but anyway, yeah, I know this is Terror Train, and another funny little thing is in Kansas City here, back in the 80s, there was a horror attraction at the local zoo. And because, at the zoo, they have this little kiddie train that goes around the zoo. Well, around Halloween time, they have like, they spook it up. They have people jumping out at you and stuff like that, and they call it the terror train.
Oh, no
So,
way.
yeah, so that kind of was like, oh, this movie. But anyway,
That's
yeah.
good, man, because I thought you were going to tell me that you dressed up and you started killing people on the train. Like, oh no, Andy, don't let movies influence you.
Yeah, no. But
Dude, and I'm about the same as you, man. I saw this in the early 2000s because I don't know if you guys ever had a Fry's Electronics, but that was a big like warehouse store that we had here where you can buy a whole bunch of cool stuff, including movies. Back when that was a cool thing, and I bought this on DVD because I think my aunt and uncle had told me about it. And everybody knows Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween, and so in the span of 4 years, from 78 to like 82. Jamie Lee Curtis had did like Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Terror Train, The Fog, and so she earned herself that Scream Queen title. And this is one of those movies that wasn't as popular as all the other. This one in The Fog, right? But I remember first watching this one, and I loved it because not only is kind of the twist and everything really cool and unique, especially for the time period. The whole idea of the killer switching costumes throughout the movie, I had never seen that before, and I thought that was super smart.
yeah, no, it was a really cool idea, and it kind of added some suspense, because the other characters didn't know when the killer was actually around. The killer could just kind of blend in and do what they're doing, and nobody knows, there's even
Yeah, I'm kind
anybody.
of surprised
Yeah.
that we didn't see this like as a trope more often in movies. Like usually when we have a horror movie, we have a killer who has one distinctive look, so it wouldn't make sense for them to change costumes throughout the movie. But the whole idea of having some sort of costume party and having the killer continuously change costumes really seems like something that they could play with even more than what they did in this movie.
It really sets up the tone of the movie. Like there's a lot of like psychological suspense, and it relies more on the tension than the gore, I think, in this movie, as we'll talk about with the kills. But just get there has I really like the tone of this movie. It definitely has a different feel than like Prom Night or The Fog, I feel like, or some of these other movies that Jamie Lee Curtis was in. So yeah, it's interesting. We'll get into it, but yeah,
Andy,
yeah.
this is not the only time Jamie Lee Curtis found herself on a train in the 80s.
Oh yeah, when else was
Yeah.
that?
Trading Places,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's been a
just a
while
few
since.
years after this.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
that's
get those
true.
movies confused either. All
No,
right.
but yeah.
Well, let's get into it, man. This movie, you know, I love how it starts out because it opens up, as a lot of these movies do. You got a lot of college kids. At this point in time, they're all freshmen, and we get to meet a few of them. But what we realize is it's like I think it's called Hog Night, and it's basically all the pledges have one last shot to get into the said fraternity or sorority. All they have to do is sleep with somebody, and we're led to believe that you know, the, they're gonna help a brother out, right? Like, hey, you see Alana over there? Maybe you can get with her. I heard she likes you. You got a whole bunch of this, that, and the other going on, only to let us in on the secret that oh no, this is gonna be one giant prank. And this is kind of like the prelude, the opening to the movie, and you kind of realize what this movie's going to become. You have Alana or Elena, I always get it confused, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. She's going to end up being our final girl, as always. We have Doc and we have Mo and we have Jackson and we have a handful of characters that we'll kind of get to meet. We have Ed, but most of all, we have Kenny, and Kenny is this very scrawny, kind of typical nerd for the 80s type movies, and they're gonna lead him up into this room, and this room is so unique, Andy, because they got like stoplights and flashing strobe lights and everything to give you an epileptic seizure.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character, it's like she's in on it, but she's also not really sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's weird that I don't know why she agreed to this because she was like in with them, but then yeah, she was unsure, and then the people, oh, just this will be funny, and it just when you kind of see what happens with this prank, it is really kind of disturbing and very morbid, like and we can, we're gonna
And
be
that's
talking
coming
to
from you, a guy who appreciates a good prank.
yeah. Yeah, well, this one involved an actual cadaver, like a dead body, and I was like, "Whoa!" They kind of went over the edge on this, or kind of like took it to that next level. And when I think of a prank, I think of like something that's just fun and harmless that doesn't really cause anybody any harm or damage to any property or anything like that. This is like so basically, to kind of describe what happens is that they lead Kenny into the room thinking that Jamie Lee Curtis is in the bed, and she's actually behind the bed talking to him, telling him to undress and to get into
She's
bed.
like, "Kiss me, Kenny, kiss me."
Yeah, and there's actually this corpse. It's like a medical cadaver in the bed, and it's really like the arms have been removed, and there's like a uh, I don't know
Dead
the
boobs.
yeah, and the chest had been like opened up or something. It's like, oh my gosh, this is really, and there's like an older lady, and it's just,
Age is just a number.
but so Kenny sees what's going on and he starts freaking out and he like stands up and just starts spinning around and like gets kind of wrapped up in all they have those like linens that hanging on the curtain of the bed. I don't know what you call them. That it's like one of those four poster beds that the posts go
Yeah.
all the way up to the ceiling almost, and there's like these linens hanging down, and he like gets all wrapped up in them and stuff, and freaks out. And
I remember I thought he was going to hang himself the way he was spinning and getting
yeah,
tangled in there, but he ends up just kind of getting stuck in there and ends up becoming a very traumatizing event for him. And then next thing we know, Andy, it's like 3 or 4 years later, and we're going to have the greatest party ever. All of our freshmen are now seniors, they're pre-meds, and they're going to have a party on a train, and it's a costume party on New Year's Eve nonetheless.
yeah. This is like he says, 3 years later, and this is the same group that we saw in the very beginning. They're boarding a New Year's Eve costume party on a train, and everyone's in disguise, perfect cover for a killer.
It is. What do you think about that? Would that be something you'd want to attend? Because if I'm being honest, like I'm not much of a party guy, but just the atmosphere alone sounds like a really cool time.
I don't know, man. The train is really like kind of claustrophobic. You're kind of like, I guess if you're in like one of the trains where like the all the parties going on, it's probably a little bit better. But like the compartments where it's just like this thin little aisle and you have like the beds on either side, that I didn't really like that too much because it just feel kind of claustrophobic. And but I guess everybody kind of has their own little personal space. If they want to just get away from the crowd, they can.
Sure. Have you ever been on a train before?
Yeah, not nothing like this, but I've been on like a scenic train, like a just like a the kiddie train at the zoo, the scenic train
Back
ride.
to that.
Yeah, I haven't really been on like Amtrak or anything like that.
Did I
How
ever
about
tell
you?
you about the time? Yeah, for sure. I've been
Okay.
on a train one time. I'd say two times if you include the trip there and back. But I actually rode a train from Paris, France to Germany, and then from Germany
Oh,
back
wow.
to Paris, France. This was like 20 years ago. I was a teenager. That's right. I'm in my 40s. I'm old. But yeah, it was actually not a good experience for me because I was in this like little room, where you could sit or sleep in. And this person that I was with, it wasn't like anybody I was related to. It was just the person who got booked to share the room with me is another guy.
Oh, wow.
He fell asleep in front of like the little AC unit. And so it got really hot because I was further away from the AC unit.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows me, they know that's bad news because I start to get really nauseous and sick. So long story short, I remember being on this train because I was in the bathroom puking so much.
Oh man. Yeah, that
That's
sucks.
why this train looked much better. They had a lot more fun than I did.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I didn't see any puking though. But
No, which is crazy. It's been these kids are drinking like there's no end.
yeah.
Andy, it's really cool. We get to meet a lot of the characters again. They like get off of a bus, they're boarding this train, and then you have somebody who you had to appreciate. We had like this class clown guy named Ed, and he's in a Groucho Marx costume.
Oh yeah, Ed. He's definitely the clown, and he just has a joke like uh he has like, and I was wondering, does he even have a date? Because he's keeps on carrying this blow up doll with him everywhere,
Right. Well,
and
we do learn he does have a girlfriend.
yeah, that's
'Cause-
true. Later
yeah,
on, we see
Pet.
that. Yeah,
But yeah, he's standing outside the train and he's telling jokes like a mile a minute, very much like Seinfeld and Groucho Marx does. But yeah, you can't get over the fact that he's holding that blow up doll pretty close.
yeah, yeah. He really likes that thing, I guess.
But Andy, guess what? He becomes our first victim of the film because once everybody kind of boards on the train, they see him, and there's a few people left, and they look over and they see him, but he's walking and he's kind of like impaled in his stomach with a sword, and they think it's just part of his gags, part of his pranks. So they leave him out there. But come to find out, no, Ed's our first victim. He gets killed with a sword. We don't see it happen. We just see the aftermath, and we see the killer. We don't see the killer's face, but the killer kind of pushes him under the train and steals his costume. And so now our killer is going to board the train dressed as Groucho Marx, and everybody's going to think it's Ed.
Yeah, this was really surprising. I wasn't expecting a kill like on the platform before, even before anybody got on the train. It was kind of surprising,
And with a
but
sword, how weird is that?
yeah, and it was kind of off screen, and which that's another thing with this movie. Like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the kills are off screen, and but
Yeah,
anyway,
it's definitely not a splatter 80s horror film like we're kind of used to seeing Andy and I, but I would say what they lack in the splatter, they kind of make up for with the suspense. Like the buildups are really
yeah,
good.
oh for sure. And I like how like the Ed is he's dying on the ground, and the killer walks up and starts taking the costume off. That's kind of cool because we know that somebody's there and that they're gonna. And then we see them not too long after dressed up as what Ed was wearing, and he's actually interacting with the other kids, and they just think it's Ed, and he can
Yeah,
just
it
kind of
kind of establishes that this is going to be a whodunit.
yeah, right, because we really don't know who the killer. I mean, yeah, we know the pattern in slashers, and we have the prior tragedy or whatever, the thing. So, but we just don't really know what's going on, or
So I know you mentioned that this train may or may not be your cup of tea because it's kind of claustrophobic, but you did say if you were in the party rooms, that'd be really cool. And I got to think you would love this because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you told me before when you were a kid, you were into magic.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, I wanted to be a magician when I was a kid. When I was 8 years old, I think somewhere around there was a magician that came to our grade school, and I came up and told him, "Hey, I want to be you. I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to be a magician." And you know what he told me? He said, "Oh, no, you don't."
That sounds about right. The
And
pay is awful.
it's like, dang. And but anyway, that didn't really discourage me. My parents got me this big ass magic set when I was probably like 9 or 10. And so I went full tilt. I got into magic, I got into pranks, and I really practiced a lot with magic stuff. And as I got older, I kind of got out of it. As a
Did you
teenager,
have the whole like top hat and cape and wand and everything?
I didn't have a hat. I don't think I had a cape either, but I did have a wand, I think.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
didn't have a hat, so you never pulled a rabbit out of a hat.
No, I never did that.
All right.
But in this movie, we see the magician who's David Copperfield, which we can talk
Of
about
all
too.
people, yeah, David Copperfield was like 24. And I was like, what is he doing in this movie? But I
I
loved
know
it.
this is like his only film, I think, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
it's
so. His first and only film. And I don't know how, apparently in the original script, they didn't have a magician in here, but I guess they either knew him or just thought it would be a cool idea. But I got to give him kudos for getting like one of the greatest magicians of all time to be in this. I heard Houdini wasn't
oh
available.
man, yeah. I mean, in the '80s, like David Copperfield was like the shit, man.
It was all the rage, huh?
He was the one on TV making the Statue of Liberty disappear, making elephants. He made like big stuff disappear.
You know, I have
And
never seen like anything David Copperfield outside of this movie.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
my only exposure.
he was like the David Blaine of or Chris Angel of like the '80s, really.
Sure, sure.
But
My only memory of magic or those TV shows were the masked magician revealed how tricks were done. That's the
oh
only thing I remember. And I loved that
yeah,
stuff, but I was also kind of heartbreaking. I'm like, wait, so magic's not real?
yeah, that probably would have. Well, I probably would have been super into it if that came out when I was a kid. But yeah, that might have like kind of crushed my spirit a little bit too. Kind of realizing that it wasn't real or whatever.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, okay, well, let's
Um,
move to our next kill because unfortunately it's going to be Jackson, and so Jackson's dressed up in this really. I mean, you can say what you want. It's kind of a cool looking lizard costume, and he's already two sheets to the wind, and he actually sees who he thinks is Ed in the hallway, and he tells Ed, "Come in here," and they stumble into one of these bathrooms, and he's like, I got the good stuff. And he pulls out his own personal drink there and he's wanting to pour it. But then that's whenever our Ed killer here, our Groucho Marx, if you will, grabs the lizard, as you will, and turns him towards him. And then, Andy, it was so unique. He like pulled his mask up and revealed who he was for a split second. Just wanted him to know, Puts his mask down, grabs Jackson, and then slams his face with the mask still on, but slams his face into a mirror, killing him.
Yeah, it's kind of like showing you how the killer can really take advantage of the situation because normally I don't know if this killer would have been able to overpower Jackson. So I think, he took advantage of him being drunk
For
and
sure.
was able to capitalize on that. Yeah, I mean this is like the perfect like hunting ground for this killer because it's like a train full of like drunk teenagers or the people that they want to get revenge on or whatever, and
For sure. And then always changing costumes just is complete, like, leaves everybody really vulnerable to the situation. And I mean, this killer capitalizes to say the least. We get at least 6 or 7 deaths in this movie.
yeah, and it's interesting like with after this kill, we have the conductor actually going through checking
Yeah,
and
Carney.
Carney, yeah. And people are trying to use the bathroom because after
Yeah, there's
the
like only
ki-
2 bathrooms on this whole train.
yeah, it's like this is not you do not want to have like a taco bar or something on this train if there's
No,
only two bathrooms. Like
negative.
but yeah, so the killer locks the door after they leave the bathroom and people are obviously trying to use the bathroom and so the conductor actually gets access back into the bathroom and he finds Jackson on the ground and but he's
Blood
still
everywhere.
yeah, and he's still wearing the costume and everything. So he knows that something's not right here. He sees that, and so he locks the bathroom again, and he goes to report it to his train mates or whatever cabin mate. I don't know what you call him the
It's kind of like an
brakeman or something.
engineer or something. Or break. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
I
he
think it's
goes to
Charlie. was the guy's name.
Oh, Charlie, yeah, yeah. Charlie
Yeah.
was the brakeman, and so he goes to report it to him, and then they both go back to the bathroom. And this is what's interesting, like they go back to the bathroom, get inside, and the person that was on the floor is now moving around,
All
like
the
act,
blood's gone.
yeah, all the blood's gone, and they're just like acting like they're just kind of they passed out or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Charlie kind of looks at him like must be a prank or he's just drunk or whatever. And so now he doesn't believe that, there's anybody in peril.
Right, which is an interesting thing for the killer to do, like to kind of be able to clean everything up and like
Yeah. Our
hide.
killer has got to be a house cleaner.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so it's kind of
Andy,
interesting. Yeah.
one thing I thought was great was all the inner splices we get in this movie of watching David Blaine perform his magic tricks. And even though he can squeeze or take a cigarette and put it through a quarter, I mean, that's kid stuff, man. But when you can get peanuts out of the machine for free, I think you've reached an A level.
Get what out of
Free
the
food,
machine?
peanuts.
Okay. All right. That's
You remember the peanut machine?
oh yeah, no, I remember.
Okay.
Um yeah, no, I mean that is yeah, that was quite the trick. He was able to, and I don't
You
know,
got to
like
wonder how long those peanuts have been in that machine, though. I don't. You shouldn't eat
yeah,
them.
they're just like sitting there. Oh yeah, just in general, yeah. Those
Like the
old
rule.
those old unpackaged those old vending machines that had the unpackaged nuts in them. Yeah, it's like,
You remember
yeah.
you put a quarter in there and turn the knob? I don't even know if those things still exist anymore. Last time I saw some of those machines is either in the mall or in like a Chinese food restaurant. Other than that, you
Yeah.
never see them.
Yeah, I see like him and at the front of the grocery store sometimes,
Okay. Is
see
it
him
still a
there.
quarter or did inflation make it go up? It's like
I'll have
insert a
to
dollar.
I'll have to look. Yeah, I don't know if it's went up or what, but yeah, I always used to love those little toy machines like that. Those are always cool when I was a
You remember
kid.
the sticky hands where you'd throw it on the ceiling?
Oh yeah.
Get stuck and your parents will be pissed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're gonna escort who they think is Jackson out of the bathroom, but that's when it'll be Mitchie, right? Comes down the hall and sees Jackson and is gonna offer to help Jackson escort Jackson away. And then Andy, something stood out to me. I thought it was really, really weird. I don't know if you're with me on this or not, but at some point they've kind of established who's the boyfriend, who's the girlfriend, who's in a relationship, who's not, couples and everywhere. And then they just kind of throw it out the window and it seems like everybody just goes with everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like we see Jackson and Ed's girlfriend, they're like with Doc and Mo, now like they're like talking to them
Yeah.
and like, oh, they can't find Jackson or Ed, so they're just gonna go with the next guy, I guess, and then of course Mitchie sees this, and I think that's why she wants to hang out with Jackson now because
Because Jackson
her
was cool.
yeah, her boyfriend is now with Jackson's girl. That's what she thinks, and so she wants to she wants to get to know Jackson a little bit better.
Yeah, she tells him, she's like, we've known each other for a while, but we've never really got to know each other. And so, like you said earlier, taking advantage of the situation, she kind of lures Jackson into her sleeping bunk, which is up top. They get up in there, and she just kind of lays down and is going to let Jackson do whatever Jackson wants to do. But I was surprised that what Jackson, or who we think is Jackson, wanted to do was lay a severed hand on her chest. I didn't expect that, but I really liked it.
Oh yeah, that was really really kind of creepy. Like I wasn't really expecting that, but that was kind of a nice little a little what do you call it? That was just
Just
a
like a,
little thing that
yeah.
to mess with the victim, the killer did,
And it's clearly Jackson's hand. And so, hello, not Jackson, obviously. And we get an off-screen kill for her, but later we do see that her throat gets slashed, and so now Mitchie's
That's
dead.
right, yeah.
Another scene that was pretty important to the story is it's kind of like a little backstory and then kind of setting us up for what we think this movie's going to be. There's a scene where a lot of these kids who are our main characters, not Jackson though, and not Ed because he's dead, they're in a car. You got Mo and you got Doc, which I don't know about those names, but you got Mo and Doc, they're best friends. Mo seems like he's the rich kid and he's kind of nice, but he gets manipulated a lot by Doc, who he claims is his best friend. And Doc is the guy who arranged the prank in the beginning. And he's also the guy that arranged this entire party. And when Elena finds out, she's not too happy because she doesn't want anything to do or to ever go to one of Doc's parties again. Yeah, so this it doesn't sit too well because this kind of pisses Jamie Lee Curtis's character off, and Andy, this scene was kind of weird because I can't remember if it's right here or in a few minutes, but there's kind of like a heartfelt moment, maybe even one more than I expected, between Mo and Doc. And Doc assures Mo that even if Elena or Alana leaves him, Mo's like, I'll be here for you. And he's like, no, seriously, dude, I mean it. I'll be here for you. And I was like, whoa, I think there's a little chemistry here. There's something going on.
I don't know, bromance going on there.
Yeah, definite bromance, and it may be as simple as Doc doesn't have any like real friends, and so he kind of just really like latches on to Mo, or it could be, yeah, Elena isn't too fond of Doc, but maybe Doc isn't too fond of Elena. Got his man. Who knows? But
Yeah.
that's interesting. You never know. And one thing that I want to talk about too is this movie is kind of chalked up with a lot of red herrings. Like for a while, you don't know who to suspect. Like we're
Oh
obviously
yeah.
led to believe that maybe Kenny is back and he's back for vengeance. But also, it could be like maybe somebody involved in the prank couldn't handle what happened, and maybe it's not Kenny. Maybe it's one of the friends killing off the other friends. Like you never know. It could be Carney, or guess what? It could be the magician. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, they're really kind of playing up that maybe he was the magician. So yeah, it's interesting that, like you said, there's a lot of red herrings, and yeah, it just kind of makes it fun to try to guess who the killer actually is.
One thing that I found funny is I mentioned how cool it is that we get a lot of scenes of David Copperfield kind of doing his thing, and his magic is really, really good. But Doc does not seem to like it. He is not impressed.
Yeah, he really is really combative with the magician and he's kind of heckling him and stuff. And I wasn't really sure where this is coming from, but I think maybe we find out a little bit later, like why he doesn't like magicians.
Yeah, maybe he's a failed magician himself.
Ooh.
Ooh. But we mentioned okay, Mitchie, is the third to die, and so she's gone. And at one point, because Carney had found what had happened, he wants to tell Elena, but what he does, he kind of like escorts Elena to this one room where we haven't got to spend a lot of time, and it's kind of like the room where they get to hang out. There's like a little caged area in there. It's like a little office or whatever, and he tells her like, "Hey, your friends are dead. The person who this shoe belongs to is dead." But Elena is not buying it, man. She refuses to believe that her friends are being killed.
Yeah, no, she wants to see it for herself, and so she goes back up into the train car there, and she sees it for herself, and yeah,
Yeah, and I was surprised. I thought we were going to get another like disappearing body or
yeah,
is the killer going to, do something there? But no, sure enough, you get throat sliced Mitchie there. And now she realizes shit's hitting the fan.
yeah. But this is kind of when the action, I don't know, the action kind of starts picking up a little more because people are starting to realize, hey, there's a killer on the train, and so Carney's trying to go up to, well, Doc actually, because not too long after this, like they're having a magic show, and Doc is heckling
Oh yeah.
David Copperfield, and Mo is sitting next to him. But then, like, all of a sudden, like, he, like, Doc discovers that Mo's actually dead. Like, and we never saw the killer around or anything.
No, we didn't, and it was really weird because the more you think about it, because he's heckling the magician, and he kind of like pokes fun at Mo. He's like, "Can you believe this?" Mo, and then he's like, "Mo, Mo," and you realize Mo's like neck is all red. But one thing that I thought stood out really crazy to this scene was the magician. Part of his trick is he revealed that he can kind of like disappear and reappear in different places, and I was like, that would
Hmm.
be amazing if your killer could do that. Maybe the killer really is the magician.
Yeah, and then that's, I mean, because he's kind of the stranger, we don't like, yeah, I think somebody even commented, hey, we didn't hire a magician, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah.
weird. But I was disappointed that we didn't see Mo die, but not as disappointed as Doc because Doc is freaking heartbroken and he's like, Mo, Mo. He's like screaming out and he kind of picks Mo up. They carry him back to one of those bunk areas. They lay Mo down and they're trying to see if he's dead or if he's hurt. Can they help him? But that's when they revealed, like, yeah, his neck's all bloody, but his chest had been, like, it looked like stabbed multiple times or something.
Yeah. It's like
So though we
when
don't
did
see
this
it,
Yeah, it's like when did this happen? You know, it's like, man, because he was just sitting right next to Doc the whole time.
well, here's the thing. What if Doc did it?
Oh, okay.
Doc's kind of an asshole. Maybe he killed Doc because he's with Elena. Who knows?
Yeah, and then so yeah, so they they realize, Doc realized everybody realizes that Mo's actually dead, and so this is when I think Elena tells Doc that his girlfriend is dead.
Mitchie's dead
Mitchie's
too.
dead.
Yeah, that dude found out in 5 minutes that both of his lovers are gone.
And then so Doc, yeah, he actually pulls the brake thing, and Carney's like, everybody brace for not impact, but brace because
Opposite impact.
yeah, he's expecting the train to like come to a stop and it
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
And
Yeah,
so
and that's
yeah.
when Carney's, I think they realize like we need to check on the brake engineers, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of people missing at this point, man. And they find like, correct me if I'm wrong, they actually find an engineer's hat and it's all bloody, right?
Yeah, they just find the hat and Carney's like, "Oh, he got them both." So I guess that was two more people that we didn't get to see got killed off screen.
Yeah, and then Carney, this doesn't sit too well with him. He's like, all right, he goes and he like manually stops the train and he's like everybody off. And I thought this was a pretty boss move. I really thought it was a smart decision to have everybody get off the train and take off their costumes. And
Yeah.
I think they do this in a way to kind of, because if this is a party where it's a lot of the same people, everybody's going to kind of know everybody else. And so
Hmm.
if we have a stranger who's, unmasked, like clearly that's your red herring, that's somebody you got to look at. But that doesn't happen. Instead, we get some more backstory that was pretty interesting. And this is where Elena tells Doc, like, what do all do we have in common? And it's kind of revealed we were all involved in that prank with Kenny. And Doc,
Yeah.
he's not believing it. He's like, that's a pretty extreme thing to do for a prank.
Right.
And
Yeah.
she's like, is it though? Because I went to go visit him and they wouldn't let me see him because come to find out, like he got traumatized, he went to a mental institution. Oh, and he actually killed somebody.
Yeah, he had actually killed somebody before the whole prank thing, even like I guess when he was younger, like a kid or something. I don't know.
It goes to show you, be careful who you tease, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Just like that song Jeremy from Pearl Jam.
Oh, great song, by the way, but geez, keep it depressing, Andy. What else? But Andy, yeah, I mean, if anything else, we're all in alignment now that we're hunting for a killer,
Oh yeah.
and Doc, he's very aggressive. He like grabs Elena and he's like, "Come on, I'm not going to sit for this." And so he actually takes her and kind of like traps them inside of a car all to themselves, and he kind of locks it up. And she's like, "What are you doing? We got to tell people." And he's like, If there's a killer here, it's not getting to us." And they find a yearbook and they're kind of going through it, and I guess they're wanting to look for Kenny, but then it's kind of like openly revealed there's a page in the yearbook where Kenny loves magic because back in high school
Yeah.
he was a magician. Go figure.
Yeah. Although the magician doesn't really look like Kenny per se.
It's not like too far-fetched, but it's not close enough, right?
Yeah. So I
And
mean, I guess there's always plastic surgery too, right?
hey, a lot can happen in, 3 years,
Three
Andy.
years.
You could be Kenny and then you could be David Copperfield
Yeah.
if you have enough money. But all right, well, this scene was pretty cool, man, because we're gonna be leading up to, correct me if I'm wrong, Doc's death.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because Elena leaves. She leaves to go warn everybody uh
That Kenny's the killer,
that
right?
Kenny's the killer, and then when she gets out in the hallway, and this is a cool scene I thought because it was kind of so she gets out into the hallway and she sees somebody like coming towards her down the hallway and they
Yeah,
start
it's like a
running and it's
shadow.
yeah, it's a shadow and it's really kind of creepy, but we come to find out it's just Charlie the brakeman and he's coming, but she's actually trying to get back into the room with Doc and Doc has locked her out. He's like, nope.
Dude, he won't let her back in.
Yeah.
Like,
And
asshole.
right, so he's like every man for himself.
This was a
Yeah.
really cool scene, though. I really like this because Doc has secluded himself in this room
Yeah.
and he starts to get paranoid. And so much so that I forgot what he takes, what kind of weapon he has in his hands, but he like starts jabbing like a lot of empty spaces where a killer could be hiding, like up in the overhead compartments, in this is like a two-part room that they're in. And he kind of looks everywhere and then he exhausts himself and then he sits down and across from him is like a mirror. And then I guess as he's sitting there, I don't know if he sees somebody underneath him or he realizes somebody could be hiding underneath him because, hey, you didn't check under the bed, basically.
Yeah, I was not super clear on what he saw in the mirror. It was like it seemed like there was like a flashlight under the bed or something under the bunk. I didn't know if
Okay.
that's what he saw, but yeah, he saw something to tell him that somebody was right underneath the bunk. And yeah, so he like jumped up and
Yeah. He tries to make a run for it, but the killer kind of reaches out and grabs his hand, trips him, and then when he goes to get up, we see the killer's hand, very feminine looking hand, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. And I think even at one point he thought it was like Mitch or something.
Yeah, I think because he also saw like the black robe too that Mitchie was
And there
wearing.
was a ring on the finger. I didn't know if
Yeah.
that was significant, but
I don't know. Yeah.
even though we don't see what's about to happen, it's really cool because it kind of does like either a quick cut or a slow motion, but it pulls him
Yeah.
up and the killer goes for the neck and then switch scene.
Right. Yeah. We do. Yeah. We figured he's gonna get his neck, his throat cut or something like that.
Well, there's another scene that follows that kind of sets some stuff up. I almost said David Blaine. That's your fault. David Cop. Why they got both need David? What's going on with that? I guess your name's David. You're gonna be a magician. Excuse me. I'm gonna disappear. All right. We see David Copperfield and he's messing with some swords. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like that. I mean, come
Yep.
on, dude. Like, short of you having blood on your hands, you are the obvious killer. And his assistant, who we've seen a couple of times, she's been assisting him with like a levitation thing and a disappearing thing. And he's like, where did you go? And she's like, oh, well, I got escorted off the train just like everybody else. You weren't with us, but here I am. I'm back. And I was just like, oh, the assistant. Okay, we haven't seen much of you. I'm gonna keep my eye on you too. But
Yeah.
yeah, at some point, Elena, because she, got locked out of the room, she goes and tells Carney, and they're gonna go check on Doc. And then I guess, and that's another thing too. Carney has like the skeleton key because he can get into any room. Earlier, how did the killer even like get in and lock the bathroom? Like the killer had a master key, and so I didn't know if they were trying to
Yeah.
set Carney up as the killer. But I was like, that
Uh-huh.
old man is not killing people.
No. Yeah. But it was definitely weird that the killer had a key to the bathroom and apparently
Maybe a
wherever else.
magician could steal a key, huh?
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, there's something going on there.
Yeah. You mentioned swords. Like, wasn't that that was how Ed was killed? Our first kill
Yes,
was killed with the sword.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they're bringing it back around, but they're
Yeah.
gonna go check on Doc, and Doc, is not opening the door because he's dead. They kind of bust in there, and Carney's looking around, and he checks the overhead compartment. And I loved this because Doc's body like falls out, and you can't see what happened, but we know something went for the neck. But hey, your questions are answered because his head comes tumbling out, and I thought that was awesome. I always love a good decapitation.
Yeah. The head rolls out.
It
I
gives a new meaning to the term overhead compartment. Oh.
Yeah, the fake head, it definitely looked fake, but I'll give it
It's
a.
better than I could do, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. True. Better than I could do, yeah. That's when we're definitely sure it's the magician at this point, right? We
We
know
are. And there's a scene where I think Carney is like, he's sold on it too. And so they're basically, he like tells the assistant, he kind of whispers to her, if I'm not mistaken, and he's like, is he back there? And she's like, yeah, he's in the room. And he's like, okay, go this way. And so basically everybody is like leaving the back of the train where the assistant's room and the show is being put on. And even the assistant's like, I'm gonna go get coffee. I'll bring you some. And Carney, correct me if I'm wrong, he like locks up the cart so the magician cannot join them.
Yeah, he has like a chain and a lock. He locks it up and
Don't
because
you know
he
he's a magician, bro?
yeah, he really but Carney does call out to him. He's like, "Hey, you want some coffee?" And yeah, we'll get you some coffee or something. He's like trying to be conspicuous, but he's
Right. In the
like
best way that he can. And then Elena, she's kind of placed in a room by herself, and one of the staff members of the train's like, no one's been in here for a few years. You go ahead and you can rest, and I'll be outside. And though I didn't feel too safe with that, I loved that he had an axe, and I was like, oh, we're getting an axe in this movie. It's getting better.
yeah, he was one of the guys like earlier in the movie they had a couple of the train people, employees, whatever, like go room by room with their axes, their fire axes, and like search for the killer. Of course, they didn't find anybody, but this is one of those guys, and he still has his fire axe. So he's like, nobody's getting in here. They have to go through me. And it's like, okay, here we go.
Here we go. And Andy, guess what happens?
They go through.
They do, and he trades his axe for a sword because he dies by sword. We don't see it, but again, another person who's impaled with a sword sticking out of him.
Yep, another sword. Yep.
And so, I mean, they're really hitting you over the head that the magician is stabbing people with swords. But what that does is the killer picks up the axe And then the killer goes into the room where Elena is sleeping because we saw her kind of nestled under a blanket or whatever. And this
Hmm.
killer wastes no time and goes and swings the axe down, but doesn't kill Elena because Elena's smart. She's a smart final
Right.
girl. She swapped places with, hey, there's that blow up doll that Ed had.
Yep, Ed's girlfriend. Yep.
And Elena was hiding in the closet and she actually stabs our killer in the back.
Yeah, she has a sword.
I know.
So
How many swords does it
the
take to do this magician's trick?
yeah.
Oh, man. Well, stabs him in the back. She makes a run for it. And I mean, we know how horror movies go. This killer's not dead. Killer gives us a jump scare, pops out of nowhere. They get into this long fight scene, right? Is this the one where she does she knock him off the train right now, or do they have the big brawl first?
Um, I think they have the brawl first. Like he comes out and then she runs back to that back car with the cage. I
Okay. And
think
the killer, I didn't, what mask was he wearing? Is this the one you
so.
called the Father Time mask
Yeah, so it's the
earlier?
one that Mitchie was wearing, and it's yeah, Father Time.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a New Year's thing, like because you know they have the baby for the New Year, and they have the old man for the old year, and I think the old man's like Father Time. I think that's what
Okay.
it's supposed to be, something like that.
Hey, that's a lot more intuitive than I knew. So I'll give it to you.
Mm.
It's the Father Time Mask. That's what we're going with. I had to write down. I was like, ask Andy what the hell this is. But did you notice a couple of the screams, though Jamie Lee Curtis for sure sounded exactly like a Laurie Strode scream from
Oh yeah,
Halloween.
for
I was like, is there
sure.
some ADR going on?
Exactly. I caught that too. That scream was the same one when she was falling down the stairs. When
Yes,
she got,
exactly.
yeah, that it was that same scream. It had to be because it sounded just like it.
It did. It was to a T, and I'm not even mad at you because that's a great scream. I'd want to use it too.
Yeah.
But okay, so our killer and Elena are in this cart, and this is kind of where like Carney hangs out and some of the engineers and stuff. It's a big cart room, and there's a scene where they get into a fight, Andy. And do they do the cage sequence first, or do they tussle and she hits her head on the doorknob,
No, they tussle first, and they hit her head on the doorknob. Yeah.
which was not you could tell was not scripted, but it was just like, oh, she kept the camera rolling.
And then he did something I don't really see killers. They like ripped her earring out, right?
Yes, she had a hoop earring because was she a pirate?
I don't know.
I think she had a okay,
Oh, was
yeah,
it? Yeah.
and our killer was getting the upper hand for a few minutes until she bit our killer's hand, and she started
Yeah.
to fight back, and then she locks herself because she ends up even spraying him with a fire extinguisher, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Would that actually hurt? I don't know. Maybe if
I mean,
there's
it
some
could blind you
chemical.
or something.
Yeah, I guess if it's like high pressure water squirting you in the face,
That
yeah.
would hurt. But yeah, she like locks herself in this cage area. And then this was a really cool scene because our killer takes this pole and he starts smashing the lights overhead. And I always love when that happens.
Oh yeah, My Bloody Valentine. That kind of reminds me of
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Another Canadian,
Yeah.
slasher from the 80s, same
Hmm.
time period. But Jamie Lee Curtis is not in that movie. And, you kind of think she's kind of screwed because she's trapped herself in this cage and he's got this long pole. He can clearly reach her. But she reaches for what is that called? It's a where you put the receipts. It's like a receipt spike.
Yeah, that's yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's
Yeah,
like
she fetches it off the desk and stabs him in the face. I was like, why did you put your face that close?
there's a Jamie Lee Curtis has a thing for like using like knitting needles or little
Oh,
needle
no
like
kidding.
things to
Yeah,
stab dudes with, and she never really finishes the job as we see, you know,
it was
with
in the
Michael
script.
with Michael Myers or this guy. It's just like stabs him once in the face, which but that would hurt though, getting stabbed in the cheek like that. It's like oh
Yeah, for sure, man. And she manages to break out of that cell and make a run for it, but this didn't keep our killer down. He catches up to her, and but she manages to what she thinks throw him off the train. But then we quickly see he was holding on.
yeah, like she kicks him and he kind of falls to the side and say that okay he fell off the train, but then yeah you see like his bloody arm kind of reaching back up, climbing back
Uh
on.
huh.
And yeah, so this kind of sets up a really cool, creepy scene here too.
It does because I mean she's beyond exhausted at this point. So once again, she's in a train car by herself, and she looks comfortable. Everything looks good, but because of the way that this like scene is shot, the way it's focused on her and this giant window behind her, here comes the killer coming down the window, death from
Yeah.
above, in a very
Yeah.
like Michael Myers Halloween 1 kind of way when they're at Smith's Grove.
Oh yeah. It's just kind of floating, yeah, down the window. It's like, man, this guy, he's got some strength to be able to hold
He's
on
got
to
like
the
suction cup hands or something, man. How
yeah.
the hell is he hanging
It's
on? He's outside of a
Spider-Man.
tree. It's Spider-Man. It definitely is Spider-Man. Um, and at one point, I think even Jackson's girlfriend, which we didn't talk much about Jackson's girlfriend and Ed's girlfriend. They didn't have a lot to do in this movie, but they seemed like nice people. A little confused, but still nice. But
Yeah.
especially Jackson's girlfriend. She's kind of, I think, what was her name? Mary, but it's spelled Merry. She's kind of
Yeah,
looking after
it's weird, yeah.
Elena, but right when she walks out, that's when the killer comes down the window. And yeah, I forgot what happens, but at some point, Elena leaves the room and she goes
Yeah.
back to. Oh, I think Mary actually talks her into it. She's like, "Oh, you're awake. Come out here where the party is. Come be with people."
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
so Elena's kind of like, you can tell she's kind of like second guessing it, or not too sure about it, but I guess it makes sense. Go surround yourself with people. The killer's dead. You threw him off a train, right? So
Yeah.
she goes and heads that way, and I think, does she think it's Charlie or Carney? She just sees that somebody's sitting at that table and they're in the conductor's uniform or engineer's uniform, and so she sits down, and Andy, it's not Carney, and it's not Charlie. Who is it?
It's Kenny.
Kenny. And guess what? Kenny is not the magician, because at one point we did find the magician. I forgot to mention David Copperfield
Yeah.
is dead and ironically also killed by swords.
Yep, he was stabbed by swords. Yep.
And so the magician is not Kenny. We literally get Kenny, but Andy, Kenny has been here the whole time.
He's
Where
been here
the
the
hell
whole
was he
time.
hiding?
I know he was the assistant, the magician's assistant. The
The
woman.
the woman, a female assistant.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to make a statement, but I'll tell you, when I saw this movie, my mind was blown. And they like
Yeah.
flash back and show it, and I'm like, holy shit, it was in front of your face the whole time. And then I found myself rewatching this movie, for the podcast, and I was just like, oh, this movie totally works today. Like, I love this.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really the guy, the whole time, and it's he's able to just like talk in a way that you just don't realize it's a man, and I think, yeah, but
Yeah, and
yeah, so
he's
it was a nice twist there. I liked it.
it was a nice twist, and I don't know if you've read anything about the actor who played Kenny, but he did drag in real life, and so
Yeah.
he was like really comfortable doing this, and I think that's why he pulled it off so well. Because I'm telling you, I've heard some people talk about it, and they're like, "Oh, I figured out who it was." I think even Renee had told me that he guessed the killer eventually, and I
Oh
know I
yeah.
tell people like I don't try to spend a lot of time guessing who the killer is. I just let it unfold and I judge the story after. But I definitely, it never stood out to me that it was basically Kenny in disguise. Never saw it coming. So the reveal to me was very satisfying. And Kenny's kind of a creepy dude.
Yeah, it's funny like watching it this time. Since I knew who the killer was going to be, I was paying attention to the assistant, and I could tell. Okay, yeah, that's him for sure. But the first time I didn't catch it at all, and but yeah, so yeah, it's kind of quite a twist, and so Elena's trying, Kenny like grabs her hands, and he's trying, and Elena's trying to like kind of talk him down and trying to be nice to him and stuff like that.
Yeah, Kenny is not having it, and he starts like squeezing her hands like really tight, and he's like, "I saw you tonight. I've been watching you." And she's like, "Kenny, I'm so sorry." And he's like, "You haven't changed. You were." He's almost mad that she liked the magician.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like she was like, "Oh no, I know that you're a better magician than him." It's kind of weird, but
It was, and he reassures her. He's like, "Oh, yes, I am." And he's like, "Kiss me." And that kind of pulls back to the beginning of the movie, because when they were pulling the prank, Elena was like, "Kiss me, Kenny." And so this time he's like, "Kiss me, Elena. Kiss me." And
oh yeah.
being a smart final girl, she, is trying to get the upper hand and kiss him. But there's no way she would have known what this was going to do. So she kisses him, and it sends him into the exact same spiral that happened in the beginning of the film. He goes nuts.
Yeah, there's some kind of like psychological trigger there where it's just like sends him into this like hysteria or something. He just like spins around like he did at the beginning of the movie, and that's when our old pal Carney shows up.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, man, because she kisses him. He spins around, and it looks like he gets tangled up in like either the magician's cape or some jackets or something on the wall. But very reminiscent in the beginning. And Carney shows up with a shovel and clocks him over the head and knocks him out
Yeah.
of the train. And I remember not being too thrilled that it was a shovel that hit him. I was like, he should have shot him 6 times. But again,
Oh
that's another
yeah.
Halloween reference. But
Yeah.
one thing that was satisfying is, yeah, he's not holding on. He falls out of that train. It's a long drop, and we hear his body thud as it hits the ice, and then kind of like drifts down into a river.
Yeah, they just happen to be going over a trestle where there's like this big drop off and it's like a river underneath it. I was like, that's convenient.
It was, but man, I'm stuck on this because I really, really like this movie. And I know some
Yeah.
people have said it's really slow. I don't find it slow. I'm enjoying pretty much everything. I think it has great build-ups, great anticipation, great suspense, great all these things, great twist at the end and everything. The only negative thing that I have is just how they kill Kenny at the end, which is kind of funny because now it's a South Park joke, but I'm not going there. But yeah, I was just like, oh, a shovel. And I get it. This train's old. Like you shovel coal, so of course there's a shovel on here. But I was
Yeah.
just like, huh, okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it actually kind of showed that kill, whereas a lot of the other kills were off
That
screen.
is true.
So,
Yeah, we get the shovel kill. Great.
yeah. But yeah,
But
no, I remember like when I first saw this movie when I was younger, I wasn't too crazy about this movie. It hadn't really been one of my favorite 80s slashers, and I was trying to figure out why. And I don't know if it's just, but watching it this time, I think I appreciated the more psychological tone that this has, kind of like a different, it's more of a suspenseful film. It's like almost like if Alfred Hitchcock made a slasher, Well,
hey,
okay.
strangers on a train.
Psycho. I guess he did Psycho,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Kind of one of the best. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, and you're right, man. And I've always liked this movie, but I did find myself liking it even more because of the reasons you mentioned. Like the psychological aspect stood out to me, but also, this movie came out in the 80s, so it was like establishing and following a lot of the tropes that we've known to grow and love, and everything you want's kind of in this movie. And to be honest, if it wasn't for a couple of the real brief scenes of nudity, this could have been like somebody's first horror movie, like a good introduction into what a slasher is.
Oh yeah, for sure. I could see this kind of easing somebody into the genre.
Yeah, for sure, man. And so, like I said, we started this year off with Troll. You pushed us into the 80s slashers, and I can't help but just say, Andy, let's maybe we hang out for a while because I'm really wanting to do some more of these.
Okay, yeah, I'm game.
That's awesome, man. So, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, cool. As always, thanks everybody for tuning in and listening to us talk about this electrifying 80s horror movie. As mentioned, we'll probably do another one here in a couple of weeks, but that wraps it up. I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And I'm Abnormal Andy.
Thank you for listening to the Scream and Skull podcast.
See ya.